I was only gone, Virtuoso tried to say but was interrupted. 24 minutes, she said sharply. If I'm assigned to guarding, you can at least be helping while I'm guarding. I was helping. Virtuoso used her power to show She's mind what she had done. Good. Now we have a friend in the command center. Tell her to get another set of rescues ready for us, she said. Virtuoso had a momentary vacant look in her face. It's done. She'll put the big ones in a stack for us, and I can get the locations by thought. Good. Now let's go back to Alpha. What? Why? To get protective costumes for the other team members and to find out what happened. We know what happened. We have no idea what happened. Let's go, I'll show you. She placed her hand on her shoulder. What if Vector and the others are still there? They have other places to be, but I'll make us invisible just in case, she said as she made them both invisible. In front of them they could see the smoking waste that used to be Alpha. On She's prompting, they teleported closer to the dorm building. She quickly jumped on the top of the wreckage and started digging around. What are you looking for? Virtuoso asked. Costumes first, she answered as she used her power to push wreckage to the side. Then let me help, Virtuoso answered by teleporting large chunks of debris away. After a few minutes of searching, they found the missing costumes for Saber, Shroud, Cosmos, and Second Team. The costumes were placed in a pile on the side of the building. I guess Glimmer will have 2 costumes now, Virtuoso said. Look at this, she said. What? Here. She pointed to a portion of the building's steel that was now uncovered. This steel was cut by a high explosive. Yeah, the building blew up. No, there are different kinds of explosives. This was done by the kind that cuts. Vector knew the dorm had a super steel frame and took the time to destroy that first. Why is that important? He had inside knowledge of the building, and the big question is why wreck the building and not kill the people inside? I mean, if he put a different kind of explosive here, he could have hurt the people inside a lot more. He wanted Cosmos alive? Then he would have just taken Cosmos at super speed and killed everyone after. He let us live. Virtuoso, Team 1 ready to be transported, Darkspeed thought to Virtuoso. Darkspeed's calling, Virtuoso said. Okay. She used her power to pull all of the costumes to her as she reached for the brain. The 2 girls then teleported back to Crete. Once there, they could hear only wailing and crying. She and Virtuoso saw white sheets covering small bodies. Oh no, she said as her face went pale. Darkspeed walked close to his team members. 8 of the youngest didn't make it. Where's Olympian? Virtuoso asked. He's with his mother. Bioforce is healing his dad. Darkspeed stopped in mid-sentence. Virtuoso reached into Darkspeed's mind to find out what he didn't want to say. Ajax didn't make it. What? She said. Darkspeed spoke slowly. Mr. Farakis and Ajax pursued the villains off the island. They destroyed their vehicles over the Mediterranean and started drowning the ground-bound villains. They were attacked by some kind of anti-gravity fighters, like fighter planes. They won, but Ajax didn't get back to a healer quick enough. The villains have an air force? She asked. We have other places that need rescue, Virtuoso said softly. I'll tell them, Darkspeed said as he left to walk through the crowd of people. Olympian and his father were consoling his mother. Olympian's older sisters tried to comfort the younger siblings. Mrs. Farakis cried hysterically as she looked on the white sheet that covered the large youth that was her son. Darkspeed stood back a few feet and talked softly. We need to go, Darkspeed said. I can't, Olympian said weakly. If we stay here, some other mother somewhere else will lose her children, Darkspeed said coldly. Mrs. Farakis stopped crying and looked hard at the young leader and then back at her son. You be careful, she pleaded and then started to sob again. I don't know what I would do if I lost 2 in one day. No one is going to hurt me, Mama, Olympian said as he started to break away from her grip. Papa, take her. Mr. Farakis turned to look at Darkspeed. You and your team did good saving the children. Thank you, sir, Darkspeed said as he walked backward. Are we going into the fight? Olympian asked Darkspeed. Still just rescue. There are a lot of people that need help. Before they could make it back to the other alphas, they stopped as over 30 Greek men and women stood as a group in front of them. Olympian looked at his sister in surprise. We want to help, Aurora said. You're not trained, Darkspeed said. So? Olympian said. They're all flying hitters that can help with rescue. Okay, I'll check with London, Darkspeed said. Virtuoso was quick to contact Prism and Miss Waldron. She has non-combat places that all of you can help. Once I get the other teams to their next assignments, I'll come back and start moving hitters. Good, we'll be waiting, Aurora said. Miss Waldron was quick to place the trained teams on riots and large-scale disasters. The Greek hitters were placed with city authorities to help. Aurora found herself lifting cars off of bridges and people out of burning buildings. Virtuoso and she moved people and coordinated with Miss Waldron like they had been doing it their whole life. Miss Waldron was now running the command center. The common memory that all Miss Waldron shared, her superintelligence and near-miss speed all worked to restore order to the London HQ. In the hour that passed, the Alphas were redeployed 5 times each. Virtuoso, Miss Waldron thought. I'm here, Virtuoso thought. I started having a telepath here retrieve situation reports from the halls across the world. The Tokyo team was ambushed, and they can't contact Dr. Noguchi. We're on it, Virtuoso thought back. Trouble in Tokyo! Make us invisible, Virtuoso said as she reached for She. Technically, that's a combat site, Miss Waldron thought. It's She's home, Virtuoso thought as she teleported. The 2 invisible girls found themselves standing on the ruins of the Tokyo Hall. The building looked like it had imploded on itself. She spun around in a full circle looking at the devastation. Can you hear any thoughts here? She thought to Virtuoso. No, I can't. Can you locate my father? After a pause, Virtuoso thought. He's at Bishamon Base. Let's go. Inside Bishamon Base, only half the lights were working, and the smell told them there were fires. She listened with her super hearing for any voices or combat noises. Virtuoso listened for thoughts and only found one. Virtuoso let go of She and became visible. Shogun is in engineering. Virtuoso tried to say something. She immediately knew something was terribly wrong and ran towards engineering. Father! She screamed. Virtuoso teleported twice to try and keep up with the swift stealth. She came to a fast stop when she saw what was in engineering. The room looked like a war zone with 3 dead villains scattered about the floor. Shogun knelt over and clutched the body of his wife. She felt sick as she heard her father sob in pain. When she stepped closer, she could see her mother's relaxed face with open eyes. Her mother's head swayed back and forth on a limp neck as Shogun cried. She tried to step closer but felt her strength drain and fell to her knees. Never before had she been so overcome with absolute grief. The first stealth of Alpha wept uncontrollably. Somehow, Shogun was able to know he needed to console his daughter. He gently placed his wife's body down and looked at her open eyes. His hand was slow to push her eyelids closed. It made her death seem final. Shogun shook his face quickly, like shrugging off a blow from a hitter. He then stood and summoned strength he knew he would need for his daughter. Shogun knelt next to She and held his daughter in his arms. He no longer cried. He simply cradled his little girl. Virtuoso watched as Shogun put himself aside and made this moment about seeing to the needs of someone else. We're ready for another assignment, Darkspeed thought to Virtuoso. I need to go. I'll be back for her later, Virtuoso said to Shogun. Shogun said nothing. He simply gave her a sharp nod. He pulled his daughter in closer and tried to think of any words that would make this tragedy better. There were none. Virtuoso arrived to see Darkspeed, Olympian, and Bioforce near where she had left them outside of Heathrow Airport near London. A quick look around and she could see that things were better than when she had left. Olympian cleared the runway of debris, I rescued passengers, and Bioforce did the healing, Darkspeed said quite proudly. Vector is using some kind of stealth cruise missile to do most of his dirty work. If we could stop those, we wouldn't be responding to so many emergencies. I think it's a tactic to keep us busy, Bioforce said. I bet Snitchy knows, Olympian said. Wait, where's She? Darkspeed stopped talking long enough to see something was troubling Virtuoso. The Tokyo Hall and Bishamon Base were hit hard. Dr. Noguchi is dead, Virtuoso said. Jet's mother? Olympian gasped as the recent losses crushed him again. Virtuoso tried to keep her mind focused. How do you know there are stealth cruise missiles? Olympian was almost hit by one, Bioforce said. Olympian tried to shake off the bad news. Yeah, I was moving a wrecked plane off of the runway, and I saw this thing shimmer and become visible just as it was about to hit me. Did it hit you? Virtuoso asked. No, I hit it first. From what's left of it, we figured it was a missile or a rocket or whatever that was supposed to strike the airport again. Can I see the missile wreckage? Why? Darkspeed asked. I'm the brain, remember? Sure. Darkspeed scooped up Virtuoso and ran her to a pile of scrap. I'm looking for circuitry and remains of computer parts. Darkspeed moved quickly through the pile until he found everything that fit her description. He then spread it all out so it would be easy for her to inspect.